The voicemail said this: "This is Charlotte Dermatology Clinic calling with the results of your recent biopsy. Please call our office between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., Monday through Friday." Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, let me take you back with me to November 2004. I was at David's Bridal on Independence Boulevard. I was an excited bride, and I was standing in front of a full-length mirror. I was looking at the dress of my dreams. And as I turned around to look at the back of the dress in the mirror, I saw it. No, not the beautiful cascading train that I had dreamt of since I was a little girl, but the mole the size of a pencil eraser right in the middle of my back. Now I wasn't overly concerned, but I was concerned enough to call the dermatologist to make an appointment. And on the day of my appointment, I walked in, not really knowing what to expect. The doctor wasn't all that concerned. In fact, he didn't even want to do a biopsy. It was only after my insistent prodding that he did do that biopsy. And as he sent me out the door, he said to me, "No news is good news." Back to this voicemail. I worked in customer service here at Duke at the time. And when I got my next break, I returned that call. Over the course of the next 2 minutes, I went from an excited bride and single mother to a cancer patient. My emotions ran the gamut. I was scared, I was mad, I was sad, I was shocked, I was numb. But then I was in denial. I would tell you, yes, I have melanoma, but I didn't dare utter that dreaded C word. Perhaps it was because I didn't know the seriousness of the disease. Or perhaps it's because I didn't want to face the reality. Now, I talked to some trusted people, I did my research, and I came up with a game plan. I visited a general surgeon who agreed with my game plan, and surgery was scheduled. I was to undergo a sentinel node biopsy with removal and a wide local excision. Folks, I'll spare you the details, but at the end of that day, an area the size of a hockey puck in width and depth was removed from my back, along with a total of 6 lymph nodes from under my arms. I was in the hospital overnight, and I was sent home the next day with 20 some odd stitches in my back, leaving a nice scar for me to look at. I've been to the doctor every 6 months since then for skin checks, and probably will continue to do so for the rest of my life. I am vigilant about self-skin checks, but not only of myself, but of you as well. I have probably examined the skin on your face and arms without you even knowing it. Melanoma is serious, but there's not a lot of emphasis put on melanoma. In December of 2008, my grandmother went to the doctor for what appeared to be an infected wound right on the bottom of her foot. She was misdiagnosed and mistreated for months. Finally, in April of 2009, after visiting 3 doctors, they decided to biopsy this place. When the call came in, we were all shocked. It was melanoma. We had no idea. Like me, my grandmother underwent a surgery, although hers was much more involved. But it was too late. On September 9th, 2009, after not recovering well from her surgery, my grandmother was admitted to the hospital. And the next morning, on a Thursday, she was taken down for a PET scan to determine if her cancer had spread and how far. That evening, as the family was gathered around her bedside, the oncologist came in. He found an open chair. He sat down, and he hung his head. Metastatic melanoma. The same disease that had threatened my body just 5 years prior had now ravaged hers. And on September 27th of 2009, a mere 2.5 weeks after that grim diagnosis, my grandmother took her last breath. My grandmother was vital to our family, and melanoma had stolen her from us. In March 2010, just a couple of months ago, I took my son for a haircut. The next day, we were playing out in the yard, and I noticed a spot right on his scalp. Now remember, I'm vigilant about skin checks, not just for myself, but for everybody else. So I knew that that spot had not been there. And I did what any responsible mother would do. I called the dermatologist. The dermatologist agreed that it looked suspicious and it warranted a biopsy. A week later, I got the call. Atypical cells that are often a precursor to melanoma. In just a couple of weeks, I will be taking my son to have a surgical procedure to excise or cut out those cells. As my family has learned firsthand, melanoma knows no boundaries. I was 25, Granny was 78, Austin is 10. And it all started with that voicemail. Toastmaster.